$61 billion. That's what Governor Cuomo says the state needs in aid from Washington. He says the money will help fund local governments, which in turn fund first responders. But what about Western New York? 7 Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Buehler takes a closer look at the trickle-down effect of COVID-19.
We are likely to be facing significant budget cuts.
The aftermath of COVID-19 could be a fiscal nightmare for the state of New York.
New York has about a $61 billion funding gap, which is a very, very serious funding gap.
That is according to Governor Cuomo if the state does not receive help from the federal government to the tune of billions of dollars.
We fund police, firefighters, and schools. If our budget doesn't work, who gets cut? Police, firefighters, schools, local governments.
But what could that mean for parts of Western New York? I talked with State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli on Skype today, who tells me as much as $8.2 billion would be cut from aid to locality spending.
I mean, certainly in terms of our schools, we could be talking about 20% reduction. And each district has its own budget dynamic.
20% statewide reduction in teachers' aides, and school funding. And DiNapoli says cuts wouldn't stop there and could impact first responders, police, fire, and EMS as well.
On top of it, the state has to cut the local aid that had been expected. God forbid if we have to lay off frontline workers who are in the midst of really being heroes, helping all our communities deal with the pandemic.
DiNapoli says if it comes down to this, the cuts would be to the school districts, and the district would then decide how to handle layoffs. As it relates to towns and villages for fire, police, and EMS cuts, that would be up to specific municipalities. We took these questions to Amherst Town Supervisor Brian Culpa, who has been at the forefront of this issue.
We are not going to be cutting police or, fire service.
Culpa says Amherst will do everything in its power not to cut essential workers.
We offered another separation incentive in the month of May, so people have till May 31st to decide to take that same incentive. And if they do, then we'll see some more retirements at the end of this month. Those positions would also be held open.
But the outlook for the state, according to DiNapoli, is bleak.
Could a very clear option be that some people are going to be laid off? That could be a very, very strong likelihood.
The HEROES Act emergency aid package has been introduced by Congress. Congressman Brian Higgins says this will provide billions of dollars of emergency relief to Western New York if passed. Hannah Buehler, 7 Eyewitness News.